Hey guys, guess what time it is? Today we will be doing a review of what is probably my third favorite Pixar movie, Ratatouille. When you start getting into the later Pixar movies, you run into one critical problem. They don't really advance the industry that much. And it's not because they're bad, it's simply because the industry has become advanced enough to this point. The animation style has been really perfected. As such, Ratatouille doesn't really advance too many things. It takes the hair animation that was advanced in Monsters, Inc. and pumps it up. It takes the human animation that was developed in The Incredibles and it pumps that up to the next level. I suppose the one thing this movie did advance was Pixar's artistic value. Ratatouille started the line of Pixar movies winning Best Animated Feature. Or at least they did until this year with Cars 2. Stupid Cars series, always ruining good things. Anyway, let's forget about the Cars series. Let's focus in on Ratatouille. As I said, Ratatouille is my third favorite Pixar movie. In fact, this review and the next two reviews after it are going to focus on my favorite Pixar movies. Guess it's not much of a surprise which movies are my favorite, huh? Ratatouille is essentially the story about a French rat who learns how to cook. He gets separated from his family and ends up inside of a fancy French restaurant, where the deuteragonist Linguini has started working. Through an accident involving Remy and Linguini, Linguini is mistaken for being a good cook. So Linguini and Remy end up working together to try to turn this restaurant, called Gusteau's, into the best restaurant in France. It's a really interesting concept, it's a really unique concept, and it's handled very well. The characters of Remy and Linguini are perfectly characterized. They're extremely unique and extremely deep. Although Linguini can get a little annoying towards Act 2, when he gets too big for his britches. The cooking segments and the description of what it means to be a cook is actually really good. Seeing as how it's an art form, it's talked about as though it were art. And I really respect that. And that brings me up to the one thing I really love about this movie. Anton Ego. Anton is probably the most interesting, most complex character in any Pixar movie. He's treated as an antagonist through most of the movie until the last 15 minutes or so. He plays the role as an antagonist very well, along with Skinner, who's the evil head chef, but Skinner really is more the traditional villain. He wants power and that's kind of it. Anton is actually not a truly bad guy. He's an antagonist because he opposes the protagonists, but he's not actually evil. He's an art critic. This comes to fruition when in the end of the movie they face off against Anton. Anton is essentially defeated and probably gives one of the most heartfelt speeches ever put to film. In fact, this speech is so powerful. This speech alone is probably one of the main reasons why I decided I wanted to be a critic. It is that powerful. Let me show you guys the scene. Suffice to say, there are spoilers ahead.
In many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their work and themselves to our judgment. We thrive on negative criticism, which is fun to write and to read. But the bitter truth we critics must face is that in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. But there are times when a critic truly risks something, and that is in the discovery and defense of the new. The world is often unkind to new talent, new creations. The new needs friends. Last night I experienced something new. An extraordinary meal from a singularly unexpected source. To say that both the meal and its maker have challenged my preconceptions about fine cooking is a gross understatement. They have rocked me to my core. In the past, I have made no secret of my disdain for Chef Gusteau's famous motto, "Anyone can cook," but I realize only now do I truly understand what he meant. Not everyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere.
Pure poetry, right, subs? There's not really much more I can say about it. A unique and interesting concept, great and engaging characters, and probably one of the most complex villains in any Pixar Disney movie ever made. I really love this movie, primarily because of this reason. You remember in my last review how I talked about how the movies were designated more for children. What I was meaning by that was that the stereotypical children's movie is trying to be loud and obnoxious for its humor, for its entertainment value. Because apparently children aren't smart enough to understand the deep, complex meanings of film. I like this movie because it treats film like an art form. It is a family movie that is also an artsy movie. It is literally a Pixar movie made as a piece of art. And I love this movie for that. It's without a doubt the most beautiful piece Pixar ever made, at least until the next movie. Are there any problems with the movie? Well, some of the moments can be kind of, cheesy. Yeah, really cheesy moments will be spruced throughout. Mainly the romance subplot, which is kind of heavy-handed. I mean, there are some really heartfelt moments in the whole romance thing, but it really doesn't work too well. But that's a minor criticism, and I can generally overlook it. Man, after having to deal with Cars and Cars 2, it was great doing Ratatouille. And next week I get to do another one of my favorites. This is going to be so much fun. But what am I going to do after? Remember to like and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you guys the next time on Cinema in Review.